Hi, my name's Kos and welcome to the PaperThin Place. And on this channel, we talk about what we think, how we think, and ultimately, how does that impact us and each other. We have conversations around communication, creativity, and culture. And sometimes we do that through the lenses of leadership, diversity, and art. Change is difficult. And I want to share with you just a little analogy that came up in conversation with a friend when we were talking about their life and change and how difficult it can be to kind of deal with that or manage that in our own lives. Change to a certain extent is inevitable. It's a part of a naturalness of life and growing and developing, but it can also be scary. So hopefully this little story, this little analogy is something that will help you frame that as you work through it. So imagine that you're out one day and you spot a chair, and that chair is amazing and you think this is the perfect chair. Yet the problem is you already have a room full of furniture and that is nice and tidy. But you can't shake this feeling that this is the chair. I really need it. I really want it. So you kind of and ah, and you go back and forth in that, and you kind of hesitate a little bit. So after a while, you still can't shake that feeling, and you decide to take a risk. You decide to buy the chair. So you bought the chair and you take it home, and now begins this process of shuffling the furniture around in the room. So you decide maybe, I'll try it over there and see how it fits, or maybe you put it in a different corner of the room and see how it fits there. Maybe you experiment with a few different arrangements, or maybe you need to throw some other bit of furniture out. And I guess sometimes through the comfort and establishment of order in our own lives, sometimes we can be resistant to change. Maybe it means stepping out of our comfort zones or letting go of something. Sometimes in life we know that there is a direction of change. We know that there are things that we want to aspire to or things that we want to see happen in our life. But actually how we get there is a process of discovery. How we get there is a process of learning. It's a process of evaluating what we already have in the rooms of our lives and making key decisions about where we focus our attention and focus our capacities. And when we encounter change in our lives, when we know that there is something that we want to aspire to or see happen, that process of evaluation doesn't need to happen in one go. It doesn't need to be perfect. It can be something that evolves over time, that requires a little bit of experimentation about putting something here or putting something there. And that process of moving things around, of moving the furniture of our lives around, does take time. It is a little bit messy. It is a little bit frustrating at times. But I guess buying the chair forces you into a commitment of some kind, even when you don't have all the next steps planned out or worked out. Buying the chair somehow kind of binds you to that aspiration or that desire or that instinct that you might have for change in your life. It creates and embodies something as a point of reference amongst all the messiness of change. Yes, sometimes change is inconvenient, it is messy, it is daunting sometimes even. But change is actually a really normal thing. It is part and parcel of the process of life and how it evolves forwards. And maybe if change is a bit more normal and is part of our natural process of life, then maybe it doesn't always have to be scary. It doesn't always have to be this huge, daunting, fearful process. Maybe we can allow ourselves the time to try a few things, move the furniture of life around a bit. And we know that period of messiness where everything is not in order, that it won't last forever, that it is just one chapter in an ongoing story that you can engage in, that you have kind of the influence and power to shape as you will, but you can take your time in that. Life is always changing, and it's a very normal part of life to go through periods of messiness and periods of order. But if you're in this place where you're considering change, maybe you need to find a way to bind yourself to that aspiration, to force yourself out of that comfort zone a little bit. Maybe you need to buy the chair. Okay, so that was a bit more random than some of the other videos, but hopefully it was helpful. Drop a little comment below. Love to hear what changes you're going through and whether or not you need a little bit of encouragement into that. Either way, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this. And don't forget to subscribe and all that kind of like stuff. But thank you again. Take care. Be kind to each other. Look out for each other. So long. What? You sometimes... and then